Hi everybody and welcome to our channel. And today we are going to talk about a very interesting small embedded device which is Raspberry Pi. We will introduce about the Raspberry Pi and we will talk about its importance in the IoT field. So let's get started. So first the introduction. So the Raspberry Pi is one of the most popular single board computer. It is a low cost credit size computer that plugs into a computer monitor or TV and uses a standard keyboard and mouse. It is capable of doing everything a desktop computer can do, from browsing the internet and playing high definition video to making spreadsheet, word processing, and even playing game. So the key feature of the Raspberry Pi are that it is very low cost. It is portable because I already talked about it's a card size shaped, and it is a user friendly because it is very easier to use Raspberry Pi compared to other similar kind of devices. And also it supports multiple languages such as Python, C, C++. So the advantage of using Raspberry Pi are it is a very low cost device and it has a huge processing power. Even if its size is very compact, still it has a huge processing power compared to other similar embedded devices. Also, the most important thing about Raspberry Pi is it has many interfaces. It can be connected to HDMI, Ethernet, also Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and also other small hardware devices using GPIO pins. Also, the good thing about it, it supports Linux-based system that is Raspbian. So it is very easier to build application on it using Python. And it is so popular that it has lot of documentation. So we have readily available example with the community support. The programming languages supported by Raspberry Pi are so much like they have a lot of language support such as Python, C, C++, Java, Scratch, and Ruby. So the Raspberry Pi Foundation recommend Python as the primary language. Also, if you see most of the IoT devices we make, they are basically made on Python language. So it's a good tool. So I will also recommend that if you are working, use Python as a primary language while working with Raspberry Pi. So the type of Raspberry Pis, there are currently 12 different models of Raspberry Pi. Maybe when you listen this, maybe they have other models too. The most expensive cost around $75, while the cheapest one costs just $5. So, and the model, as you all know, is if there is a difference in the size, the cost, it may be because of the size, RAM, USB ports, and other supports like Bluetooth support, Ethernet support, and etc. So these are the two model. One is the simplest, other is the most latest one. So Raspberry Pi Zero. It's a, you can see it's a very small device. Even they don't have pins. So if you want to add the pins, you have to solder it, and it's cost around $5 to $10. It's very cheap. The other is the latest model, that is Raspberry Pi 4 Model B, and it contains a lot of things. I will discuss about the other things about it briefly, precisely. I will discuss about it. So yes, so here I'm going to discuss about various component of the Raspberry Pi, and the photograph is taken from this link. You can see if you want, and the model we are going to describe is the latest model, which is Raspberry Pi 4, Model B. So the key feature here is the Raspberry Pi USB ports. It contains two USB 3.0 ports and two USB 2.0 port. The processor, it contains the processor. Its processor is very good. It's a quad core processor, and the memory size of the RAM depends, varies from 1 GB till 8 GB in the size of 1, 2, 4, and 8 GB. Also, we have general purpose input output header pins. There's 40 pins which can be connected to various other hardware devices, sensors. And then we have Wi-Fi radio, Wi-Fi radio, and which supports 5.0 gigahertz IEEE 802.11b/g/n AC wireless model. Also, the power port, which is supported by both 5 volt, supported by 5 volt and 3 ampere. Also, we have two mini HDMI ports which support 4K P60 till 4K P60. Also, we have two lane, this is for two lane MPI PCI camera port which can be connected to Raspberry Pi camera, and two lane MPI DSI display port which can be used to connect with some display, Raspberry Pi display. So these are the different components. Also this Ethernet cable, gigabit Ethernet port it can support, which can be connected to some LAN internet, or while connecting with your other computer like MacBook or desktop Windows computer if you want to connect your Raspberry Pi with them. So now we are going to talk about various IoT applications which is related to Raspberry Pi. So the good thing about this is like Raspberry Pi, it supports, it's kind of a most famous embedded device which support IoT application. Here are a few of the example how we can use Raspberry Pi for the industrial applications. So first one which I am going to talk about is AI assistant voice kit. Uh, the MacPi, the official Raspberry Pi magazine, recently partnered with Google to release a hardware kit that allows user to integrate natural language voice command through Google Cloud Speech API as well as Google Assistant SDK. So it's a voice kit, and to for um, more AI assistant voice kit, you for more information you can visit this link I have provided below. And second I'm going to talk about is the Raspberry Pi smartphone. It is a fully functional, cheap and reliable phone based on Raspberry Pi. It just cost around $50. So more information about this can be found on this link if you are interested. So see, we can even make some mobile using Raspberry Pi, and that is Raspberry Pi Zero, I guess. So it's very cheap. The other is PiBot. We can build a very powerful robot with the help of Raspberry Pi. PiBots can be used to build a real-time surveillance system, security monitoring device, and other more interesting stuff we can build using PiBot. One of the PiBot example is given on this link. You can find if you can go to this link if you are interested. Also, the other very important application of Raspberry Pi in the IoT is web-based Raspberry Pi home automation system. This system allows you to control any application in your home from anywhere in the world using normal HTTP protocol. For more information, you can visit this link I have provided below, and you can control anything of your home using just HTTP MAC-P protocol with the help of Raspberry Pi. And finally, very interesting application I want to talk about Raspberry Pi is you can build a Raspberry Pi supercomputer also. With the It can be built with the help of using lot of Raspberry Pi, which can be run together in parallel. So our computation will increase exponentially, and this supercomputer will be very cheap compared to the normal supercomputer, and still it will work in the same way as the other supercomputer works. For more detailed information, you can visit one of this link. This is from MacP. MacP is the official magazine of Raspberry Pi. You can see this article from there. Now you know that Raspberry Pi is very interesting embedded device which has lot of IoT application. I hope you will use Raspberry Pi in building some IoT application and will share your experience with us. I hope you like this video. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Thank you.